Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview Sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today I have the good fortune to be interviewing Mike Stough of Zeriva.com. Mike, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Seth. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Let's go back in time a little bit. What is your background? How did you get started?
I've been in the engineering and management of IT, as well as investing in IT for 30 years. And I continue to do it because it's what I enjoy. It's what I like to do every day. And there's one thing I can tell you I've discovered in all this time, including probably 4 downturns, is that business can continue to make and save money by getting their IT strategy right. And what I mean by that is the ability to use IT as a creator of business value. That value is created when IT provides applications that make money for the company as opposed to just costing the company money. I call it moving from a cost center to a contribution center. Yeah, this helps IT managers get what they want in their IT budget because now they want things that bring revenue, not just technology for the sake of technology. So my company, Zeriva, specializes in maximizing value for IT departments. In fact, the name Zeriva comes from the words service and value.
So what exactly does Zeriva do?
Okay, so we do several different things within the information technology field. We primarily help our customers save money on IT hardware and IT hardware support.
Okay. And how aren't IT people more technical? Like how do they really care about the business side of things? How does that work? Because you're different than most traditional like IT companies.
Yeah, we are. I'm going to back up just a second and mention just a couple of other things for you. You know, as far as like success in this industry or any industry, you may find some rare exceptions where success finds a person, but most of the time you've got to go find success on your own. And I find that success is about keeping your priorities in the right order. And my priorities are God first, family second, and work third. I read the Bible daily so I can apply God's wisdom to everything else. And I spend quality and quantity time with my family and make sure I'm available if my wife Celeste or our children need me. And with these priorities first, I'm well prepared to work in the business world. I take great care to be responsive to my customers and to bring any resource necessary to help them with their data center hardware or data center hardware support. After that, it's about defining outcomes that need to happen and then working towards those to lay out a plan to get to those outcomes and then working on those plans to produce the desired results. And then, you know, more to the point of your question, you know, aren't IT people more technical? They certainly are. You know, they're highly technical. And the computing systems that run companies, both large and small, they're highly complex, and the systems required for communication and security take years of training to be able to manage effectively. And as for business, we in IT no longer have a choice. We must be good at both. Technology must not only enable businesses to operate on a daily basis, but it must enable the development of new customers and new sources of revenue. Just as an example, half of the Fortune 500 companies in the year 2000 are no longer in business. Every business is vulnerable to competitors taking them out. The IT department is business's greatest untapped source for ideas and technologies that can be used by engineering, sales, marketing, manufacturing, and all the rest to increase revenue for the company. As as an IT person, it's very difficult to advance your career just by being a great technologist and solving technical problems. Everybody in the field does that. If they didn't, they wouldn't last very long. The ones that really advance in their careers are the ones that understand the business side, and those that understand it best know how to focus on revenue.
Okay, so what is Zeriva says it's Fortune 500 IT solutions without the Fortune 500 budget. What does that mean?
Yeah, so basically, a Fortune 500 company has, for the most part, they've got a nearly unlimited budget that they can spend on, brand new IT hardware from the manufacturers. And so what we do is we're able to provide them with factory overstock, off lease, refurbished equipment at a much lower price than what they're going to pay when they go direct to the manufacturer or through one of their resellers. And so we're able to give them the same equipment. We have highly skilled, highly trained technicians that can do network design, who come in and do their installation. Anything that they could get, anything that a Fortune 500 company could get from the manufacturers, we can provide to our client base as well at a much lower cost.
If it's Fortune 500 IT without the Fortune 500 budget, who's your ideal client?
Okay, so our clients are IT directors and managers at companies with between 1,000 and 10,000 employees. The typical IT department at companies in this size range has about 20 people working in it. And they're more generalist in that they have to do everything from resolving trouble tickets from internal users to maintaining the security software and protocols for the company. When we work on a hardware upgrade for their data center or maintain the hardware in their data center, we become a partner with them in that they can call on us to help resolve other issues. Many times we can bring in a specialist to help in an area where they need some additional expertise. And a lot of times we can do it for little or no cost at all to them.
Well, that sounds like an incredible opportunity for them. What is the biggest problem that those companies are facing that you're helping them solve? What does the IT solutions you provide, what does it allow them to do?
Okay, so let's say somebody, somebody at one of these companies, a manager or an IT director, they really want to get involved in helping their company grow. They want to bring in processes and applications that are going to be able to generate revenue for their company. And so to help them kind of get started in saving on their IT budget, we come in and for a much lower cost, we get them the equipment and support they need so that they can free up some dollars in their IT budget to do other things. And some of those other things might even be hiring additional personnel. In fact, we did a project for a county school system here in Georgia a year or so ago, and they took their savings and they gave everybody on the payroll in the school system of that county $750. So there's a lot of things that people can do if they can just have a little bit to get started. And that's what we try to help them with.
What do you like best about what you're doing?
It's new and different every day. Of course, the equipment is always changing, and the way things are in security right now, you've always got to be on your toes, and it's just the opportunity to be able to help people every day. That's what I enjoy.
Helping people every day. Absolutely. That makes sense. So what is it that you talked about everything is changing every day. How do you stay on top of all of that? Because you aren't in just IT for, let's say, the restaurant industry. You're in so many different industries. How do you stay on top of all of the trends and changes?
Good question. Yeah, I read a lot. I talk to a lot of people, and I'm talking to IT managers and directors every day. And that helps me stay on top of what's going on out there.
Absolutely. And then on the flip side, you're also probably working with the manufacturers and the other folks that supply the equipment and the infrastructure. So you're learning that way too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
How have the companies that you serve, how have they had to pivot during COVID, and how are you able to help them?
That's very interesting. One of the things COVID has done is send everybody to work from home. And so that's brought about some changes in IT as far as how the IT managers, directors, network managers deal with their end users, who are the other employees of the company, and how they've had to make changes to their networks to be able to support those people. And in a lot of cases, they didn't have enough laptops, notebook computers available to be able to issue to those employees who are going to have to work at home. So we've helped them with upgrading their networks where needed and helping them to find the personal computer equipment that their employees have needed at home.
That makes a lot of sense. In those bigger companies, you've got to deal with stuff that isn't necessarily at a smaller business with 10, 20, 30 people, might not necessarily have those issues. How do you help those IT directors get a seat at the business table and get their concerns voiced and be a part of solutions that help grow the companies?
Okay. Yeah, that is that's a great question. I'll start out with an example. A loan manager at LexisNexis had an interest in robotic process automation, basically an application to improve business, but was literally scorned by management and fellow employees alike. And, I'm sure you've come up with ideas before and you've expressed them to people, and, they haven't understood. And so, the first thing they do, they might even laugh at the idea. And, that can be very discouraging. And the issue here was, when they heard the word robot, they thought of automatons running around the office getting in the way. Several even said, "You mean robots like R2D2 or R2D2?" Which, pretty funny, right? But how do you get an idea for improvement across when you're being made fun of for even suggesting the idea, much less trying to add it as a line item in your IT budget? The first thing we've got to do, we got to make sure we really understand the implications of the application or idea we're proposing. Does the idea meet a company goal or objective? Will it enable the company to create more revenue streams? If not, maybe we should reconsider. Next, we've got to make sure we can explain it in a way that company management can understand it. They don't care anything about the bits and bytes or how cool a new technology would be. What do they understand? They understand increased revenue. More than anything, they get in tune with you when you show them how they can increase revenue. And not only that, but they'll now view us as a partner, not just as an employee, when they see that we're looking out for the long-term interest of the company. So, how did our friend, the manager at LexisNexis, do it? In a single slide, he showed them how they could use robotic process automation to turn a $220,000 annual cost. That's a lot of money. That's nearly $250,000. And showed them how they could turn that into $131,000 in annual revenue. Management was convinced in less than 10 seconds. When you show how an idea or project benefits them, they don't have any choice but to approve it. So Seth, I'll ask you, when someone who works for a company and they show their company management how to make more money, what do you think happens to that person?
Well, obviously, if they're helping them make and save more money, good things are going to happen.
Yeah, that's the person who's going to get a promotion. That's the person who's going to get a raise. That's the person, if they're thinking about having a layoff, they're not going to lay that person off. Then getting back to your, more specifically to your question of how can IT get a seat at the business table, they won't come out and invite you. That's for sure. IT is often overlooked by the business side of the house because management views IT as a cost. Plain and simple. It's a necessary evil in order to keep the business running, and the lower they can make the cost, the better. On the other side, the IT people love technology. They love the bits and bytes and the blinking lights, so they don't speak the same language. The business people, for the most part, don't want to speak the technical language and don't have the time or desire to learn it. On the other hand, IT can pick up the language of business pretty easily. The way to get a seat at the table is to start small. We can interview the managers of other departments at the company we work for and find out what would make their job more productive. What would help the research department do their job faster? What would help marketing and sales get more customers and more revenue? Take a look at the software and applications market and find things that would help these other departments. Then do a case study showing how much additional revenue could be brought in. That's what the guy at LexisNexis did. It only took one slide. It doesn't have to be complicated. Once you do that, everybody will want you to be at the table.
That is absolutely right. And that's a great story and a great example. I know you're a voracious consumer of content. What are some of the favorite books you've read or things that you've listened to that have inspired you or help impact your work or help improve you on a personal level?
Oh, okay. Great question. I think I'd mentioned to you before that I had seen you on the Andy Andrews podcast.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so you know what? I saw your wife on there too. She was great as well. So I feel like I know your whole family now. But anyway, so Andy Andrews books have been very inspirational for me lately. I think I've read pretty much all of those, and so those have been really good. I've also been reading a book called Backable, and the author's name escapes me right now, but it's basically about how to get your idea across to people when you're when you've got a new idea and you need to either sell the idea or you're trying to get an investment for that idea.
Those are great examples. I know your time's incredibly valuable and we're grateful that you spent some time with us. What else do you want to share as we wrap up?
I'm a hardware person. We're in the hardware business, so we'll keep doing that. As long as IT managers want to keep hardware in their data center as opposed to moving to the cloud. And so we'll keep doing that. We're looking at several new areas to help our customers out, including technical resource outsourcing, robotic process automation, and software as a service. So stay tuned for that. We'll be announcing some new offerings here in a month or so. And then I have more examples like the LexisNexis example on my podcast that I host on my LinkedIn page, or folks can contact me directly via LinkedIn or email me at mstough@zeriva.com, if they have any questions or need help with hardware or hardware support.
Awesome. Well, this has been Seth Greene with Mike Stough from Zeriva.com. Mike, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much, Seth. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. We'll see you next time.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.